So I'm here today to talk to you about phpBB and Symfony, and then especially also the community part. The basic idea is that I will be talking about the two different projects, what type of projects they are, and how they are different from each other, or maybe not. Also about the communities around these two products. That will work. Good. So, also about the communities. Communities are, well, something I really like, and there are some differences between the two communities, but that shouldn't be a big problem. Then I'll talk about how we can make these two communities come together, and how we can help each other in combining the power of Symfony with this great product that is phpBB. And then at the end, I'll talk to you a bit about how to actually contribute to this process, how everyone here and also the people that are not here can actually contribute to phpBB, to Symfony, or to the combining of the two products. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Stefan Koopmanschap. I'm not expecting you to pronounce my last name. I have started my own freelance business since a couple of months now as a software engineer, a consultant, and a trainer. So I get around and dive into people's code basically to help them, or help them solve problems, or help them write better code. Also, as mentioned before, I am the former support team leader of phpBB. Which is already quite some years ago. I don't know exactly how many years ago.
2005, I think.
There you go. Which is about 5 years ago now. So I'm celebrating my 5th anniversary as not being support team leader this year, I guess. Woo! Don't be that happy.
Old timer.
Also, I'm involved in the Symfony project right now as their community manager. Which basically means that I will sort of try to help the community with efforts to help the project, basically. And also I've been doing a lot of case studies for the website lately, which I think phpBB might be a really good case study on how to use Symfony. So that's enough about me, I guess. Let's talk about the projects. So there's two open source projects. One is phpBB, the other is Symfony, and they're quite different from each other. But how are they actually different? Well, phpBB is forum software. It's a software aimed at mostly end users, people that can just install it, take it, install it, put it on their hosting server, and run their own discussion forums. Of course, there is some extras that you can do with mods, or with special themes or stuff like that. But in the end, the purpose of phpBB is to download it, to put it on your hosting server, install it, and have it running. And that's it. If I look at phpBB, I think it's the de facto standard for discussion forum software right now, at least in the open source world. There are no big competitors, or am I wrong? Asking the wrong crowd, I guess. Looking under the hood of phpBB, most of the code has been written from scratch, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. We can discuss that later. The thing is, with phpBB, there's hardly any technical knowledge required, and that's a good thing because many of the users of phpBB don't have this knowledge, so they just want to have it, install it, and run it, and that's it. But if we look at Symfony, Symfony is quite different from phpBB in that, first of all, it's not an end-user product. I don't have a screenshot of a running Symfony installation. Well, I could do the standard installation page, but yeah, that's it. So instead, I took some code, because that's what it's all about with Symfony. It's not about downloading it, installing it, and have it running on your server, and that's it. It's all about development. It's a framework. So the idea is that instead of downloading it, installing it, running it, you download it and you start working on top of the phpBB code or the Symfony code and write your own application, which could be phpBB or a website or any other application. So that also means that there's a completely different audience for this software. Instead of aiming at end users, Symfony really aims at developers. People that have technical knowledge, that have skills in development, and that know how to work with it. I mentioned before, I'm a consultant, so I go into companies and help them. Even with a framework, you can still write crappy code. I can guarantee that, I've seen it. But at least it helps to have a solid base of code on top of which you can build your stuff. But it doesn't excuse you from writing bad code on top of it. So still, you have to take care to write something good. The idea of a framework is that you don't have to write everything from scratch. A lot of the stuff that you're building has been done before. People have invented that wheel before, so you don't have to reinvent it. So a lot of the stuff like how to handle a request, how to send a response, how to talk to the database, everything has been done before. And you can just start using that, which saves you a lot of time, but also a lot of bugs, because you can focus on your own code and not on the code that's already there. So that's a short introduction into both projects. Now let's look at the communities, because that's, I guess, my favorite part. So also the communities, because the target audience of both products are very different, the communities are also very different. If you look at phpBB, you can see that it's mostly end users. It's people that download it and install it. There's also quite a group of designers that are involved in the phpBB community, people that like to design stuff, or that just need the quick grab and install and then create your own theme type of stuff. And then there is a relatively small group of developers involved, which is funny because most of the developers, I guess, are here, or at least a big part of the developers from the community are here. Some of them are in the core team doing core phpBB work, and then there's of course the group of people that are working on the mods, developing the mods and checking them and that kind of stuff. So all in all, with the designers that make the themes and make them available for download, and the developers and stuff like that, you still have a quite a big group of people that actively contribute. And that's not to say like the support team and the moderator team, they contribute as well, not in, or sometimes in code as well, but also in other stuff, non-code stuff. But there's quite a big group of people that in some way contribute to the project. However, the downside of having a lot of end users, and I've experienced this myself, is that there's a lot of trolls in there. There's people in there that just come just to nag you. I'm not sure how it is right now, but back in the days when I was the support team leader, I guess at least about 50% of the messages on the support forum were just really annoying people asking questions that, well, they could have read the answer somewhere. Sorry? So that's the phpBB community, at least from my standpoint. I've been out there, out of the community for a while, so I don't know exactly how it is right now, but I'm guessing it's about the same. I see people nodding. Okay. So Symfony. The Symfony community is quite different, again, because it's a very different product. While I was showing these slides to my wife, she noticed that if you look at this, there's all kinds of people smiling, and then there's this picture, and there's no people smiling. That's because the Symfony community is all about serious development, guys. That's just a coincidence. But the Symfony community is, I think, a smaller community because there's not a lot of end users involved in the community. It's more about developers and maybe a couple of designers that have picked up PHP and are using Symfony as well. So it's mostly about developers. So most people that actually are active in the community do some kind of development, either their own websites or websites for customers or in-house applications, stuff like that. And they build it on top of Symfony, and then they come and hang out in the IRC chat or on the mailing list, stuff like that. The advantage of that is that there's not a lot of trolls, because people that, at least from my experience, people that have more knowledge of the technology behind all this, they are less likely to troll on the mailing lists or on IRC. Because they know how annoying it can be, and they first look at the documentation before they ask that question. And also the questions are quite different, because it's not, how do I install Symfony? Well, maybe sometimes there is, but most people will know how to work with it, and they will know their way to the documentation. From what I've seen, at least in the PHP framework communities, the Symfony community is very friendly. There are some communities that are less friendly and less open to new people. And the Symfony community is very open to new people, which is what I like most. So that's about the communities. Now let's see how these two communities can come together and well, make something nice out of this phpBB Symfony combination.